Hi, Paul. I have questions.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Okay.
Yeah, nice a good trip. Yeah, definitely.
See you later.
Okay, these are the ones that I could find because Google decided to mess with everything, really. Yeah, it sucks. So let's start off pruning maybe. Do you prune during the season, such as new shoots growing in the middle of the tree, or do you wait until the whole dormant season?
No, those things in the middle of the tree, I try to get off when they first show up and use my hands, just rub them off.
For your 1 to 3 year old trees, do you prune them?
Again, pruning is, if it's necessary, I don't care what its age is. If something's in the wrong place, it's not going to change. So it's out of there as soon as I can see it.
So if you just bought, say, a bare root tree, put it in the ground, got it, planted, then you would maybe go through and...
Yeah, again, if there's dead sticks or someplace, a lot of times these people that sell them to you, they prune, they leave stumps. So it's all about correcting. I want it right. And so, like I say, if something's wrong now, it's not going to get better tomorrow.
How does Paul grow and prune tomato and pepper plants?
Peppers I don't prune at all. I just put them in the ground and grow. Tomatoes, see where I live, once they start producing fruit, all the new growth I start cutting off because it's not going to have time to develop, so it just takes away from the plant. And so I just prune all of it. Once it's happening, you just maintain the stuff that's there and get rid of all the new growth.
And that's just because you have such a short growing season for tomatoes. Yeah. So if you live maybe down south or where there's
doesn't matter.
Longer season, just let
it grow.
How do you prune your raspberry plants?
Raspberries are the easiest because they only grow 1 year. So as soon as they're done producing, and as soon as they're done, I get the old canes out because the new ones are already there and they're wanting to grow. So the old ones are just taking up space. So as soon as I'm done eating, man, sometimes even I'm taking them off with a few I'm going to pick. But when they're finished, they're out of there because there's just no point in leaving that mass of dead, living space.
Do you take it all the way down to the ground?
Yeah, as close as I get to the ground. Leave no stumps.
Okay.
Visible stumps.
Wood chips. Yes, I know there's Wi-Fi. I don't care. Do you ever have problems with diseased wood chips?
No, because because the composting process cleans our house. I don't have any problem with any wood chips. I don't care if it's a diseased tree because in the composting process it's all cleaned up.
Plus, it's probably mixed with other mulch.
Yeah. Again, I come to the Creator, and He takes nothing off the earth. He doesn't separate. He doesn't say this is good, that's bad. He just lays it all on the ground, breaks it down. So I just have to say that I can't improve on that.
I'm in Florida. Well, not me, but
The writer.
Yeah. I'm in Florida. We have just spread out our wood chips. My concern is that the white sand we have everywhere here. There are no minerals in sand. Is that true?
Sand is nothing but
pure
fine
minerals.
It's all rock.
Okay.
It's very mineral rich.
Well, they say that there's no minerals in sand like clay or stone, which we know that all three of those have minerals. Nor are there worms in the sand to initialize decay of the wood chips. Should they top dress the wood chips with manure to help it decompose?
You could, but you don't need to. And if you put those wood chips there and you come back very shortly, you'll see worms. When I came to my place, there was no worms in my place. I tilled my ground and I'm just frustrated because there's no worms. It showed how dead it was. I put wood chips, I was actually using straw sheep manure initially, and Sunset Magazine did an article in January 1990, and they have a picture of me pulling up these handful of compost with worms just teeming out of them. And I've come to the reality that when you create a living environment, worms show up. It's not like you have to import them. Nature knows where life is, and they show up. It's very connected. And all this stuff we try to do to try to make things happen is unnecessary because it's just, nature's very well connected. They know what to do.
Getting a little bit of wind. Okay, let's see here. Sand drains extremely fast and doesn't hold moisture. I assume the wood chips will eventually break down and create soil layer. Let's try this again without the oops. Sand drains extremely fast and doesn't hold moisture. I assume the chips will eventually break down and create a soil layer. However, what advice does Paul have for the first year of Back to Eden Garden over white sand, where there is no soil developed yet?
Plant in the sun, put the wood chips over it, and just stand back and awe as you watch the wood chips hold all the moisture, and everything grows great. It's just, I mean, it's powerful. You know, again, God's not challenged by anything. And that covering it, you see the sand is really a great material because it's so porous, roots can really spread in it. And so it's ideal to grow stuff in. It's just that the moisture is just, the wood chips on top, it holds the moisture. It's just, it's not going to get away. It's like a sponge. And so you're good. It's just, I mean, it's amazing. I had it last year, I had it here in front of my house. You know, I have a crushed rock driveway. It's all crushed rock. My wife has this big barrel where she's growing these herbs. And they went to seed. And the seed fell on my crushed rock in August with no rain. And I have this total mass of bright green, totally healthy seedlings growing. I've told these homeowners, listen, if you don't want to use wood chips, put crushed rock down. Crushed rock is minerals. Look at this. I didn't plant this. Look at the color. There's no water happening. So if you just pay attention to nature, what it does in your face, you have to adjust your thinking. Like, excuse me? Excuse me. This works.
My property is only sand and rocks. How long before the wood chips turn my ground into dirt?
They won't change what you have, the sand and rocks, but they'll feed it and put all kinds of life force into it, and you're good.
I have found a farmer that chops. Oh, this is someone who doesn't have access for some reason to wood chips. I have found a farmer who chops his straw to 4 to 6 inch stems, and I'm able to get several tons of this. I've covered my garden with this last fall. He could go. Oh, could he? Oh, okay, here we go. Huh. Could he go into depth a little bit more on straw? I know I heard him say that that's what he started with. I was wondering if he could expound on that a little bit more for those of us who can only get this as a medium.
The problem with straw in my orchard was that I was running on a treadmill to keep up because it breaks down very quickly. And that was my challenge. Straw is wonderful. Ruth Stout wrote books on how awesome it was. That's what she had. But when it gets wet, it gets kind of slimy, and it really breaks down quickly. So the wood chips really gives you longevity. You don't have to be bringing so many, it lasts longer. But straw is awesome. That works great. It's just that you're going to be
working a lot.
Working a lot more.
Okay. Oh, come on. Stop that. Technology, right? Would straw be safe to... Okay. Would straw be safe at about 16 inches to establish an orchard? It seems like straw will break down and be more moist than wood chips. Wondering if it would invite more insects that could harm my trees.
No insects will never be invited by anything other than lack of fertility. So yeah, put the wood chips 32 inches if you have it, because, I mean, the straw, because it's going to break down pretty quick.
I know that he says... I know what he says about insects. As long as everything's healthy, you're okay. But when converting an existing orchard that is probably not healthy, would... Oh, same kind of question. So we'll just skip that. Well, here we go. We'll just reword it. Yep. I know what he says about insects, and as long as everything's healthy, you're okay. But what about when your orchard isn't healthy? How long will it take for straw, wood chips, whatever, to let the pests and bugs and stuff stop eating at your orchard?
I think it all depends on, you know, where you live and what some things got rid of quicker, other things took longer. But I'm at the place now where I don't have any issue, and so it wasn't all at once. and it was variable. And I think a lot of it has to do with, moisture content, there's so many variables in it. But again, just the whole concept is when things come into health, all disease, all other issues leave because there's just no place for them there. So timing, is hard to pin down because there's a lot of variables.
I covered my ground with paper and wood chips this fall in preparation for
Spring.
I covered my ground with paper and wood chips this fall in preparation for planting fruit trees next spring. Is there anything I can do organically to help speed up the fruit production? I've heard 5 to 6 years usually is how long it takes before you start getting fruit. My soil isn't anything like his yet.
Well, I think nature's very, very effective and not that slow, and so just just go for it and believe.
Why do you use the paper?
Like in a garden space where you're planting little seeds, if you just put wood chips 4 inches deep, the grass is going to say, thanks for all this food. It's going to come right through. The paper, when it lays tight to the ground, when it gets wet, it suffocates. And anything without air dies. So the advantage of paper is it'll suffocate and kill those weeds. You see, the weeds are actually a good green organic material. Don't remove it. Just let it turn back to soil. And if you put more than 8 inches of wood chips, like an orchard space, all my orchard was, I didn't put any paper. I just put wood chips thick, and all the grass just died because it was oxygen cut off.
Thanks.
I had quack grass, which is really hard to get rid of.
Yes.
I mean, it's miserable. Over in Swim, and I'm planting these trees, and I put wood chips a foot deep. We're talking 12 inches, and I was blown away. Nothing came through. Totally took out all the quack grass a foot deep in wood chips. It was amazing.
Great.
Awesome.
Why don't you inoculate new gardens with the flora from a healthy garden?
Inoculate?
Yeah. If you take the flora here, they will have all the bacteria and fungus in the right proportions. And if you take it in a new garden, it might spread out faster. And
I'm at the place now that I'm so convinced nature needs no help that I don't want to mess with it. I'm really to the place that nature needs no help.
yeah.
And I'm watching it with tremendous evidence that if I try to help it, I mess it up. I really, cause issues. And so I'm just stepping back and say, you know what? Just show me what you do and let me get in gear with you because you got this down. It doesn't need help.
Okay, on to food. People love trying to figure out what you eat, and you'll never tell us. So
I always tell you, just told you, I'm eating arugula every day,
tell
so I'm
us.
trying to get rid of it, and I can't keep up.
people always ask you about recipes. Hey, how does Paul?
My wife is really an amazing cook, makes things great, but I'll eat that. I'll go out to get a rolling lettuce, wash it, and that's my dinner. I mean, I don't use sauces or dressings. I just like it like it is, and I live very simple. Very simple. Sometimes I never get to the house. I just eat it right there, and I'm good.
Okay, so we're going to talk about food. Can you ask him how he kombucha? Remember you talking about it during the pruning course?
I
And
just
since
made
then,
kombucha today before the tour.
Since then,
Kombucha is something
everybody
I would not
was-
live without. It's an amazing food. Kombucha comes back to that whole issue of the importance of gut flora. Now, if you're all aware of it, but all disease starts in your gut. All disease. And something very important that you don't realize is that how you were made, the Creator really is the genius of design. When a baby's growing in the womb, it has no gut flora. The gut flora does not exist in the baby's stomach as it's in the womb. You know how it gets there? As it comes down the birth canal in the mother, it takes in that lubricating material on the birth canal through its mouth, and that seeds, that begins the gut flora in the gut. And as the baby is breastfed, that feeds that gut flora. Now track with me today, with these poor babies that are born with cesarean, who aren't breastfed, have no gut flora. It doesn't exist. And then they're fed dairy products. They're all using antibiotics that kill all gut flora. Do you wonder why everybody's sick? I'm just telling you, see, gut flora is so important. We should be eating fermented foods regularly. Wine. I love that scripture where Paul writes to Timothy. Timothy, drink a little wine for your stomach's sake and your often infirmities. What he's saying is, Timothy, you're sick all the time because you have no gut flora. you're not getting nutrition from your food. So if you drink a little wine and start establishing gut flora, you're going to get nutrition from your food, you're going to get well. So sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, all these amazing fermented foods are so essential for our gut flora, especially in this time when all the stuff you're eating from the animal sources are all coming with antibiotics that are taking out your gut flora.
But they should be made with really healthy, really healthy vegetables.
Yeah.
And old vegetables.
And see, that's why I grow all that sauerkraut. There's this cool lady over in Port Townsend who makes the most awesome sauerkraut. She uses caraway seed, and I'm growing that for her because she's going to make sauerkraut for both of us.
Oh.
You know, because I love sauerkraut. Man.
Is it possible to buy it from her?
I think she might sell it. Yeah.
Her
name is Robin. She has the Annapurna Inn.
Anna.
Annapurna. And she's a healer, and she's really well known. People come out, and she does all kinds of amazing stuff for people, but she's really good, and I'm sure she would be selling it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, she's right in Port Townsend.
Okay, we'll try that one again. Can you ask him how he makes his kombucha? Where does he store it? How often does he make a new one? What kind of sucker does he use? And does he make different flavors?
I've been using the same start for 28 years. The same start. And all I used to start it with is 8 ounces of kombucha. I never use the SCOBY. I just give it to my chickens because they like it and it's good. You don't need a SCOBY because the kombucha is so alive. 8 ounces will start the next batch. And I use nothing but tea. I'm using green tea and sugar to feed it. I let it go for 14 days because in 14 days all the caffeine's out of the kombucha and the sugar's not there, and you have every single B vitamin with all kinds of digestive enzymes, amazing food that is so awesome. Now in the summertime when my strawberries are happy, I get raspberries, I'll juice those and add to the kombucha, and it's like champagne over the top. It is so good, like whoa. Sometimes too I'll slice up ginger and steep it in with the tea when I do it. That really gives it a nice flavor. But in most cases I just take it straight. And what's so amazing about kombucha, I stored it. I actually built a cabinet behind my wood stove for kombucha. I built it for kombucha because I'm into this for life. And so because my wood stove's going in, it's a warm space and it's dark, it's a very great place to grow it. And what I'm finding that when I'm using my stove, that kombucha tastes so much better than when I'm not. Everything under wood heat is the best. There's no comparison. And what I'm also finding is that in these, I do 4 gallons every 2 weeks. In every gallon jar, there's a different flavor. I'm doing everything the same. It's all in the same place, but kombucha has a mind of its own. It's living, organ, and it just does whatever it wants to. And it's just not boring. It's always, wow, this is, oh, it says, man, that's a strong one, you know. Yeah, it's just like, it's cool because it's always changing. So it's a fun thing to do, and I would not live without it. And I can give you amazing testimonies of people whose lives have been totally healed and changed by kombucha, all the way from breast cancer to heart diseases, to can't eat food without digestive enzymes, to everything changing with kombucha. It's powerful food.
What temperature do you use?
I don't even care about temperature. This is my house. The ideal thing is 70, you know, it's a bacteria, so the warmer the better. But, you know, in the summertime I'm not using my stove, so it's just room temperature, and that's fine. I'm finding that so many things that have rules and regulations and steps and stuff are just complicated insanity and make life hard. Things are very simple. Nature doesn't need help. It grows in all kinds of environments. It's very adaptive. And all the stuff they tell us to do is just complicated and difficult. And like, who wants to go there?
You were saying that you just take the SCOBY and feed it to your chickens.
Yeah, because they love it.
Will it create a new one?
Oh, if I leave it there, every next batch there's a new layer, so it keeps getting thicker again.
You mentioned before a book about kombucha.
Yeah, this amazing book is written by 2 medical doctors who are women. And it's most kombucha books, they give you testimonies of people's lives have been changed and all of it. These are scientists. And it's so cool as they're describing how they're supposed to be, because they're sitting there in total mind-blowing shock because they can't explain how it works. It's an acid substance that alkalinizes in your body. And they're just blown away. And it's just, I love some of the things that come up. See, now all these health people say, oh, you can't use white sugar, you gotta use like organic sugar or like really nice honey. And their mentality is, listen, in 14 days the sugar's gone. The best thing to use is white sugar because it's sterile. If you use organic sugar or honey, it could have bacteria in it, it could pollute the whole thing. I love them. They're so connected to the science part. And see, I've always used white sugar because it just makes sense. It's sterile. And it's in 14 days it's gone, so who cares what it is? It's not an issue. And it's just, and they totally explain how it works, and I love it. Kombucha, what it's all about. It's a great book.
That's the name of it?
Yes, the name, there's 2 medical doctor women from Malibu Beach, and I don't know their names, but it's Kombucha, what it's all about. An amazing book.
Got it. You mentioned, and I vaguely remember this, I know all of my videos pretty much inside and out, can quote chapter and verse of all of them and know which ones are where and what's said in which one, but I barely remember this, where you talked about sending kombucha to someone famous, maybe on TV, on the news, maybe something like that?
My wife is in a prenatal visit, and I'm overhearing this woman saying, my sister's in New York City and she's got breast cancer. And so I just was motivated to get up and say, listen, I can help your sister. I'll send her a SCOBY, give her instructions on how to make this stuff, and this kombucha will get her well. So I did it, and she was on national television in New York giving a testimony on how this guy sent me kombucha, I had breast cancer, and I'm totally healed, and I have no breast cancer. Yeah, on national television. It was awesome.
Now, people have tried to find that. Do you remember a name or a channel it was on?
I remember it happened, but I don't remember I just know it happened.
Do you remember a year that it happened in?
Just, again, just one of those kind of like, I was just there, I just said it, and it happened,
Okay.
I don't keep records. My wife gets angry. You should be writing stuff down. I'm just not that kind of a person, man. To me that would be clutter, and I wouldn't, by the time I needed it, I wouldn't know what it was, So I just don't do that.
Well, see, when you tell me, then that's written down forever.
Okay.
Out there for the world.